home with the Mogwai. He's going through changes. Lots of changes.
Did you feed them after midnight?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you another festive Christmas film review, and today's review is for 1984's Gremlins. The film is written by Chris Columbus, directed by Joe Dante, produced by Steven Spielberg, and stars Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates. Now, Gremlins focuses on Zach Galligan's character Billy. He's living at home with his parents. His dad brings him a Christmas present, an early Christmas present, and it's a mogwai, a strange creature that he found in like a back alley Oriental shop that sold all sorts of mystical things. He tells him, though, that to take good care of this creature that he has named Gizmo, there are 3 rules that you have to follow. Number 1 is you do not expose them to light, especially sunlight. You do not get them wet, and you absolutely must never ever feed them after midnight. And naturally, within a very short period of time, he breaks all these rules. Gets the thing wet, which ends up with Gizmo multiplying and firing off a load of other mogwais, and then he ends up being tricked by these new mogwais that are a bit naughty. And he ends up feeding them after midnight, and these things then turn into gremlins who cause absolute havoc in the town. Havoc, chaos, you name it. The gremlins are all over that. And it's up to Billy, his girlfriend Katie, and of course Gizmo to try and put a stop to these nasty little gremlins. Right, okay, Gremlins. Now this is a film, well, there are possibly some people out there that would debate this isn't a Christmas film. That's the same way some people debate that Die Hard isn't a Christmas film. You know? I think this is a Christmas film, personally. And what seals it for me is that scene with the Gremlins singing Christmas carols at someone's door. So if the Gremlins think it's Christmas, then it is Christmas as far as I'm concerned, a Christmas film. So I do think it is a Christmas film, this one. And it's a film I remember going to cinema to see this when I was young. And I think now I've just bought the Gremlins collection, so you get Gremlins 1 and Gremlins 2 in it, so that I could watch it. Because my wife and son had never seen this, believe it or not. Certainly my wife, anyway. My son wanted to see this. And it's rated 15 now, but at the time when this came out, as I was explaining to them, it was a PG. And it's my understanding that this and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom that came out the same year, 84, it pushed the boundaries so close in regards to PG. These are the 2 films that were, inspired them to create the PG-13 thing. Because at the end of the day, it really does skate on very thin ice, this film, when it comes to what it shows in regards to the violence and all that kind of stuff. And it's very, very borderline. I mean, by today's standards, it's very tame, I suppose you could argue. But at the time, you got to imagine there were kids going in to watch this at a PG rating that it probably absolutely terrified. It wouldn't surprise me anyway. But I personally absolutely loved rewatching this film. I was in stitches laughing, and so was my family actually when we were watching this. It was so funny. It's a film you can't take seriously because it is a comedy at the end of the day. And these gremlins are so hilarious, the stuff they get up to. They're like naughty little children, but not imagine naughty little children that are prepared to take lives. I suppose that's the Gremlins. And the effects are so great as well. Yeah, there are aspects of it that's dated, but you've got to remember when this came out in 1984, these effects would have been absolutely state-of-the-art and revolutionary. All animatronics and all this kind of stuff. And it's my understanding as well that each of the Gremlins cost about $40,000 to make. That's a lot of money at the time. And the original idea as well was that Stripe, the leader of the Gremlins, was going to be Gizmo. So there wasn't going to be like a good gremlin in the film, like Gizmo. And it was Steven Spielberg that insisted that they needed to have one of them to stay good, you know what I mean? So that you've got something to compare them to. And it was a genius move, really, because if Gizmo had turned into a gremlin as well, I think it probably would have soured the film a little bit. It's once it gets going, this film, once the gremlins are hatched, so to speak, it just doesn't stop. It doesn't come up for air, this film. It's absolutely chaotic. And there's some really inventive stuff going on in this film. Really inventive stuff that will just have you absolutely in giggles if you've never seen Gremlins, certainly. Now, there is a sequel, Gremlins 2. It's a film I've only seen once. I'm interested to revisit it, actually. I remember the first time I watched it not being that impressed. And in actual fact, something I didn't realise until I was researching this, there's a Gremlins 3 coming out next year. Who knew? There's very little information on it, and the only information I've got really is that it's in production and it's due to come out in December 2023. So that's going to be interesting. My only worry is, and I was saying this while we were watching Gremlins with my wife and son, I sort of said, if they remade this today, the Gremlins would be CGI. And it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't be the same. So my only worry is with the new Gremlins, if there's going to be a Gremlins 3, are they going to go down the CGI route? I think it's CGI route. I think it's a bad idea if they do it, but I think it's probably inevitable. So I really, really enjoyed revisiting Gremlins. It's a classic 80s. How would you describe this film? It's not a horror. It's almost like an entry level horror film for a young teenager or something like that. But it's got everything. It's got dark humor. It's got good family stuff going on. It's a nice Christmas film. It's definitely funny. There's some horror elements stirred in. It's got a lot of stuff going on in it, this film, and most of it works too. It's a film that I think has stood the test of time, and it still remains an 80s classic to me. And it's very, very charming indeed. So, yeah, I really did enjoy checking it out. If you're looking for a Christmas film with a little bit of a difference, especially if you've never seen Gremlins, give it a go. You definitely won't be disappointed. My son, who's 16, and don't get me wrong, he's really into films. He's actually doing film studies and media studies at school in sixth form. So he likes to study films. He likes checking out different versions, different types of films. He's quite into all that. So he's enjoying revisiting a lot of these films, or for the first time, should I say, from like the 80s and stuff like that. He's enjoying exploring all these films that he's never seen before, and he certainly did enjoy this film. So if you're around that age and you're thinking, I don't want to watch a film from the 80s, give it a go. I promise you won't be disappointed. So thanks for watching, guys. I will be back with loads more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.